All right, everybody, come on in, come on in. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk with Maggie and Lucy, where we believe the older women should teach the young. I'm Maggie, the substitute teacher, and together with Lucy, we are two older women who married young, and we teach from our combined 40 years of marriage experience. We help young women who are choosing to prioritize marriage and family in their prime. So if that's you, maybe you can learn something from us here. If not, that's totally fine as well. So twice a week, we like to come on here and share our perspective on relevant relationship topics. So Lucy, say hi to everybody and let us know, what are we reacting to today?
Hi, Maggie. Hi, everyone. Come on in, like Maggie says. Yes, this is a video from Psych Hacks. I think he posted it a couple of weeks ago, and I thought this was a pretty timely video to present. Again, I generally do not watch the videos so we can react in real life. So I watched a little bit at the beginning, and I thought this would be something that would be a great idea to react to and offer opinions on, on the information that Dr. Orion Taraban shares with us.
All right, everybody. So we're going to get right into it. This video is Not Everyone Can Be Happy. Your thoughts create your reality. And I see someone on Instagram is saying, I thought it was more about duty than happiness. Well, we're going to learn together. Like Lucy said, this is Dr. Orion Taraban. He is an actual psychologist. We are not. We both read his book and love the way he teaches on mating and dating, as he calls it. So I will share my screen and we will watch your two disclaimers. Again, if you don't prioritize marriage and family, that's fine. You can do your own thing. You can just do that over there because you probably won't be happy over here. And if you want to watch it without our commentary, the link is in the description. And this one is a 12-minute video. We will play it and pause it, and we'd love to know your thoughts. So we see Jessica coming in, Mondo's bringing his apples, and Discipled One is here. So thank you all so much. All right, let us begin.
Ryan Taraban, and this is Psych Hacks, Better Living Through Psychology. And the topic of today's short talk is not everyone can be happy. It's the truth. Not everyone can ourselves a disservice, like we collectively gaslight ourselves when we believe that happiness is or should be within everybody's reach. But let's be clear. The line between those who can be happy and those who can't is not an external one. It's not like happy people have a Porsche and unhappy people don't, or happy people are married and unhappy people aren't, or happy people are attractive and unhappy people aren't. Happiness does not have to do with externals, which means that people can be happy under any set of external circumstances, though to be fair, some circumstances are much more challenging than others.
All right, I want to unpack this for just a minute. And yes, we like to talk about relationships here, but I love that he said happiness has nothing to do with external factors. Now, of course, you need the basics in life, food, clothing, shelter, all of that. But even though we prioritize marriage and family, happiness starts before that. Not everybody has the capacity to be happy on their own. So if you are one of those people that says, I'll be happy when I have, or when I do, or when I go, you're never going to be happy. And I think this is a problem that a lot of modern women face in relationships, because you think that, and yes, marriage is a status symbol, but you think that man or that accomplishment or that ring or whatever is going to make you happy. If you are broken inside, there's nothing that anybody can do to make you happy. So I think it's a decision. I get this question a lot. Why are you so happy? I just am. I don't know any other way. And hopefully in this video, we'll learn why some people are happy and some people are not, so you can save yourself the stress. What would you add, Lucy?
It is. It's something that you make the choice. You're either going to choose to be happy, and take life as it comes to you, or choose otherwise. And you're going to have a different outcome, on how people perceive you, how you perceive those things that happen, because life is life. So again, it's that thing that you have to work within you to be able to deal with external things.
Could not agree more. So we love to hear what you all say in the chat. Hello, Joanne, coming in. Let's go back in the video and see if we can learn some more.
Rather, happiness is ultimately dependent on people's internal states, which is precisely why not everyone can be happy. Not everyone's internal state is conducive to happiness. In fact, most people's internal states are completely antithetical to happiness. It's like certain plants just can't grow in certain soils. You can plant the seeds with care. You can water them as much as you want. You can be as patient as a saint. But certain plants just aren't going to grow in that soil. And changing everything except the soil isn't going to make much of a difference. Now, no one really has an issue with this when the topic is botany. Like, no one thinks that date palms should grow whether in tundra or that mangroves should take root in the desert. But for some reason, people believe that everyone should be happy, which is tantamount to believing that happiness is somehow independent of internal conditions. And this belief is either crazy or... Here's something that I figured out a while ago. You are free to think whatever you want. Like, you can treat your mind like a little laboratory or a little sandbox, and in the privacy of your own consciousness, you can test or play with all kinds of thoughts and ideas. You can think hateful things. You can think absurd things. You can think patently untrue things. You are free to think whatever you want. That is your right. However, you are not free to feel however you want as a consequence of what you choose to think.
All right, I just want to unpack this before he gets really deep into the weeds. Those of you all who know Psychax, he's a real psychologist. We are not. And his way of teaching, because he's an academic, he takes another concept. It could be business. In this case, it's botany. Shout out to the plant lovers. And then he explains the concept in that realm and then translates it into relationships, right? But what he said struck me about the plant that thrives in a different type of soil. Did you hear him when he was talking about external features as opposed to internal features? You can change everything about the plant externally. You could change the environment. You could change, the house that it's in. You could change the bucket or the pot. I'm not a plant person, but you can change everything. But if this plant only thrives in a certain type of soil, no matter what you do with all those other external changes, that plant is not going to thrive. So when we talk about happiness, those of you all who are pushing a rope uphill, trying to make somebody like you or trying to, make somebody happy or keep a smile on their face. And ladies, I'm going to tell you, the men that we want, they're not going to wear themselves out trying to make you happy. You either come into the relationship already sorted out and already happy and ready to customize yourself to your man and get on his program, or you can go be miserable over there. They will allow you to do whatever you want to do away from them. Like Psychax said, you can think whatever you want to think. You may not get the outcomes that you want. So again, when he says not everybody can be happy, we have to understand and accept not everybody's going to win. And this is something I had to bend the knee and realize. As much as I may want it for other people, some people can't get out of their own way. Some people will always choose the long road. Some people will always mess up a good opportunity. Not everybody is a husband. Not everybody is a wife. Not everybody is happy. So we have a choice to make, and then we act accordingly. What would you add, Lucy?
I love this because it's a different perspective. The way I was looking at this is I was thinking about those people that get easily offended by everything external, anything that, they're always looking to get that, that thing that offends them. When you're happy inside, nothing will bother you. Okay, if that bothers that person, it doesn't bother me. So again, it's that thing where, some people choose for everything external to, that not being happy within themselves, they project it on everything that's external, and then they become, those people that are looking for ways to find a way to have that negative within them to project out. So again, it's beautiful to see how we can see things that he's explaining in a different perspective.
I love that too. Interpretation is everything. So hopefully this is helpful for you all. Mondo says, it's been a minute, got my nieces watching. Shout out to the young ones. That's why Lucy and I are here. So young ladies, if marriage and family is important to you, and I always say, if your mother didn't teach you how to be a good woman to a good man, hopefully this is helpful. Let's go back in.
That part's not up to you. If you choose to think that you are worthless and incompetent and that nothing ever goes your way, you are going to feel depressed. If you choose to think that you are a perpetual victim of betrayal and injustice, you are going to feel angry. If you choose to think that other people have good things that you could never hope to earn or achieve, you are going to feel envious, etc., etc., etc. And it's not possible to feel happy if you simultaneously feel depressed or angry or envious. Like, those two states cannot coexist at the same time. And this means that in order to feel happy, you cannot allow yourself to feel certain emotions antithetical to that experience. And in order not to feel those emotions, you cannot allow yourself to think in certain ways. Certain thoughts, certain beliefs pollute people's minds. They irradiate the soil, making it impossible for happiness to grow. If you follow my reasoning, then you inevitably come to the conclusion that in order to be happy, you may need to change how you think. Not just what you think. Certain thoughts very clearly are just not your friends and may need to be forcefully resisted using tactics like the block and replace technique. No, changing what you think is just the first step. Ultimately, the goal is to change how you think.
So good. All right, let's unpack this for just a moment. But I want to say thank you so much, Discipled Wonder, for the $10 coming in with the super chat, saying, I'm happy when Maggie and Lucy are preaching. We got a little battle royale going on. Thank you so much to Next Level, also with the $10. So 2 sponsors at the moment, co-sponsors, saying peace and blessings, ladies. Salute to the chat. Happiness is a choice, not a reaction. I absolutely love this. And he's talking about changing the way that we think. And you all know I rail against this manifesting and chakras and vision boards and all of that. This is not that, ladies. This is not. BLJ is in the house, shutting it all the way down with a $100 super chat. Thank you. So incredibly generous. Y'all can put BLJ in the chat. We are so grateful. One of the founding fathers of the Finishing School for the Modern Woman. And BLJ, if I may share what you agreed to do for the Finishing School, let me know. If not, I'll keep it quiet. BLJ says, Maggie is correct. Time is a man's most viable asset. We can't waste it on women who refuse to be an asset to the relationship. OMG. Yes, the men are always watching. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. So generous and so timely. What I was going to say, ladies, is that everybody you know has a story that'll bring a tear to your eye. the point is, if you heard Psych Hacks, he said, not only do we need to change what we think, but we need to change how we think. And I am not here for the vision board, chakra, manifest it, speak it. I don't believe in that. I believe in hard work. Yes, we need to put good things into the universe, but I do believe life happens to all of us. Lucy and I are both, women who went through painful divorces. But when you encounter us, hopefully you don't see us as older, bitter women. We are still here preaching the benefits of relationship, encouraging young ladies to marry young. We just got out of the wife lessons class, and we're pouring our heart every day to help women prioritize marriage and family. If that's what you're going to want when you're our age, to prioritize it now. We could sit here and tell you about how we were done wrong and how somebody hurt us and how all these things. Everybody has a heartbreak story. But to BLJ's point, ladies, you have to choose, and it starts with you. And no man that you want to be around is going to give you, the audience that you want to cry about everything that, happened in your life. He's going to expect you to be an asset to him, not a liability. What would you add, Lucy?
Thank you, BLJ, and the other co-sponsors of this live stream. But yes, I love that he talks about not the what, but the how, because the how takes into consideration that you have to take accountability of what's happening inside of you and how you're going to make things better for you. And again, it's one of those things that you either look at life as someone who will find opportunities everywhere, or as someone who will always be, the poor me in life. And we see that, all the time, even in social media, all these TikTokers talking about, how all these men have done them wrong. And it's like, I don't remember ever saying that all these men have done me any wrong, because you know what? I find good men everywhere, men of quality, of good character. And again, but I think that's because that's the perspective that I have, and that's what you carry out. So what you're going to attract is what what you attract is the mirror of who you are. So if you're always attracting those men that are always doing you wrong, it's important to say, okay, is it me? Is it something that I'm doing that those men are being attracted to me, or that I allow that kind of a quality of men in my circle? Whereas you value yourself, you know exactly who you are, you walk in life proud of who you are, and you're going to have those good quality men come to you, approach you, and deal, in that environment with the people that you want and the people that you attract.
Absolutely true. And speaking of good quality men, I am so impressed with the men that we have in our community supporting us, covering us. Lucy and I are so grateful. We do not take it for granted. You all could be anywhere. And even though we're teaching the women here, you all create a space for us to continue to get this message out. So thank you. But what BLJ has given me permission to say, Lucy and I are so passionate about what we do. We are laser focusing on the women that we want to include in our teaching. You all know that we have courses, and we're getting ready to have an amazing graduation and reunion weekend this year for all of our students and alumni in the Finishing School for the Modern Woman. And every year we have a guest speaker, and I asked BLJ if he would be open to being our guest speaker in 2026. And he said yes. So I'm so excited. But this is not whosoever will. We are going to be much more intentional and much more selective, because like Psych Hack said, not everybody can be happy. Not everybody is serious about personal development. And ladies, BLJ isn't the only one. There are others who have said yes for the women that are deserving, that are doing the work with their actions, not just with their words. This is what we want to do for them. This is how we want to support them, be a blessing to them. And so much is coming. So ladies, you have a choice to make, and the choice is yours. Nobody is going to fight you here. All right. So let's see what you all are saying in the chat. Dr. Seal is saying hello. know, yes, the men are always watching. In 2026, BLJ will be our guest speaker at next year's graduation and reunion. Invite only. So ladies, you have to be worthy. The men are watching, and they told me to say that. All right. Thank you. Bert says, continue to do what you're doing. It's not in vain. Mondo says, wow, you know how awesome Miss Maggie and Miss Lucy are. Awesome. My nieces are taking notes and they normally have low attention span. I love hearing that. Absolutely. So Opa wants to know about our research. We are reacting to a video and the link is in the description. So hopefully that answers your question. Thank you so much, Bill H, for the $2 super sticker. We appreciate all of it. Again, y'all don't have to be here. Y'all don't have to engage with us, and you sure don't have to support. So the fact that you do, and it helps us to continue to make sure that this way of thinking does not end with us. Oh my goodness, thank you all so much. Goose is here. C. Irving with the 10 pounds. No, these are euros. Much support and love, Maggie and Lucy. I love your Kevin Samuels breakdown videos. Yes, Lucy and I both were very active in the Kevin Samuel space. Lucy's still a moderator on his channel. All right. Thank you all so much. Let's go back in and listen to what Psych Hacks has to say.
As this will make happiness both more attainable and more sustainable. Two important ways to do this are by changing your attention and by changing your language. Both attention and language are habits. We don't usually think of these things as habits, as tendencies that we practice and rehearse, but they are. Unfortunately, everyone's habits of attention and language form before they are consciously aware of forming them. Some of us luck out and cultivate good habits from the get-go, but the vast majority of us do not. And our habits must be consciously and intentionally reprogrammed in adulthood. If you're interested in taking your understanding to the next level, I would encourage you, seems to be this attention. Attention is the habit. Link in the description for more information. Hope to see you aboard. Let's start with attention. Attention is the habit of what you choose to focus on. Now, most people tend to focus on the negative, on the problems, the threats, the losses. And there might be good reason why this seems to be the psychological default. Namely, it facilitates survival. It might be better from a survival standpoint to focus on negatives, even if it leads to false positives, than to focus on positives, which could lead to false negatives. Like it might be better to mistake the shadow for a lion than to mistake the lion for a shadow. You don't tend to get as gobbled up that way. In any case, what might be good for survival may not be conducive to flourishing, to growth, to gains, to solutions. And it may be necessary to consciously and intentionally focus on other things, on your strengths, your victories, the good in other people, in order to cultivate greater happiness and contentment. This is important because, in general, the mind finds what it's looking for, even if it has to create it to find it.
All right, y'all, let's unpack this one because he said a lot there. And sometimes I get a little bit lost in the sauce, but I want to make sure that what we do, our young ladies especially, are able to understand. So he was talking about, and I forget exactly how he said it, but it was something about how we look at things, and you can mistake I don't want to get the words wrong, but here's what came up in my head. You know, when he was talking about, you can see a shadow and you can think that shadow is a lion, or you can see a lion and think the lion is a shadow. One of them may be good for your survival, but it's not going to be good for your flourishing. So when I was thinking about that, and I hope I didn't butcher it too bad, I was thinking about relationships. Like I said, we have all had disappointment. We've all had heartbreak. That's just the part of the human experience, I think, right? To have love and loss. Sometimes, you know, our hearts get broken. But ladies, if you look at every man that you encounter like he's going to do you wrong, if you had one bad experience and you're one of those women that's just like, gotcha. You know, you're looking in his phone, you're waiting for something to happen. You're waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're questioning his every move. that is not going to help you to flourish. Being able to pick up on those signals may help you to survive, but that's how you're going to show up in relationships. Again, not happy. You're going to be that difficult woman that BLJ and other men are going to be like, look, I'm not going to waste time convincing you who I am. Either you believe me or you don't. So the opposite is, we're not saying that you need to go through life la, 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 like there's not, bad actors out here. Yes, sometimes that does happen. But the way you think about those life experiences, when something bad does happen, okay, you know what? Got my heart broken, or, this bad thing happened. What can I learn from it, heal from it, and still go towards life in a way that you have flourishing outcomes and not just survival outcomes? Because that's what you're seeing with a lot of modern women. They're literally just trying to survive out here, living these chaotic lives. They're not flourishing because they're choosing to look at everything that's wrong instead of what could possibly be right. Hopefully that's helpful. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. And unfortunately, as women, we tend to pay attention to those women that are usually creating that chaos, saying that the world has come for them, and that, if that one person has come for them, then everybody else is coming for them. Again, it's important as feminine women, we have to learn how to have discernment. If you had a bad relationship, okay, maybe it wasn't all about him. Could it have been that I did something in that part that created that bad relationship? And again, just because one person does something wrong to you, or you feel like that person has done something wrong to you, doesn't mean that everybody else that follows will do the same. And unfortunately, we see that in social media. Social media has created this environment where all the negatives about society have been put into this funnel where, if you go in there, that's all you see. Again, if you walk around life looking at just, how beautiful life is, and appreciating and being thankful about, the sun, the trees, the air that you breathe, your health, how, if you live with your parents, how your parents have provided you a beautiful home, a beautiful life, you start creating this femininity in you that attracts those men that are craving for that to have in their world.
Absolutely. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat. So happy to see all of you all here. We got Meg in the house. She says, just finished Wife Archetypes. Can't wait to join the next finishing school. You ladies are a treasure. Maya, oh my goodness, Maya was in our class for the wife lessons, and where she is in her life, you would think, oh, you've already won, but she continues to do the work because she wants to get better. I'm so happy to have you and cannot wait for you to be part of our inner circle. Yes, absolutely. Discipled One says, oh, Lucy, there goes that accountability again. Love it, love it, love it. And yes, ladies, it's so true. Here's the thing. If all you do have is a string of bad relationships, what is the common denominator? And not trying to be mean, but ladies, there's a reason why Lucy and I don't have a long list of men that have done us wrong. So you have to ask yourself, what is it about me that gets a little thrill from that instability? What is it about me that likes that on again, off again? We're together, then we break up. What is it about me that likes arguing in public and throwing things and acting crazy? You really have to ask yourself, how did I end up here? Let's go back in.
Like the mind is the hunter. If it hunts for problems, it's going to find or create problems. And if it hunts for solutions, it's going to find or create solutions. This is the nature of the mind, and it's very important to remember. Now, this can feel weird and unnatural and fake when you start to do it because it's not yet an integrated habit. It's kind of like wearing someone else's clothes. It can feel a little like play acting. But there's kind of no way around this. You're going to have to pass through this period of conscious incompetence in order to cultivate conscious competence, which can ultimately become unconscious once more. Like learning a new language or performing a new exercise, it's not always going to feel awkward or forced. but it may feel that way for a while as you firm up the foundations of the new habit. It will likely also be necessary to alter your language habits. Why? Because words are not just words. Like, the semantics of a word are the most superficial and apprehensible attributes of a word. They're like the little peaks of a giant iceberg piercing the surface of the water. The vast majority of the iceberg remains invisibly submerged in the depths. Words are actually very complex cognitive structures. They are an interdependent network of concepts and associations and memories and impulses. And some words are connected to concepts and associations that are not really conducive to our well-being. The more these concepts and associations are activated, the more emotional states antithetical to our happiness will flourish inside of us.
All right, so let's take a moment from the grad school class and let's unpack that a little bit. When he talked about the mind being a hunter, ladies, we are going to look for those things that we constantly think about. You know, Lucy's talked about social media. That's why it really is important what we consume, not only in eating and drinking, but what we watch, what we listen to. All of those things do matter. Here's what I was thinking about when he was talking about, you know, our cognitive ability. In the finishing school, shout out to the finishing school, we have a section in there about self-confidence. And one of the things that we talk to the ladies about is banishing any negative self-talk. Now, again, I'm not swinging the pendulum all the way to the other end where I'm a queen, I'm a boss, I'm a 10, I can't do anything wrong. No, we talk about humility a lot. But ladies, if you have a tendency to say out of your mouth negative things about yourself or other people, like he said, that's just the tip of the iceberg. That means there's a lot of other mess going on behind the scenes. So if you're the type that says, oh God, why would I say that? I'm such an idiot. I'm so clumsy. I'm so stupid. I never get anything right. If that is just how you talk about yourself, then it's going to affect, like he said, unconsciously, why you never can just be kind of like calm and happy and just peaceful, the type of woman that a man wants. If you're always just upset about something, aggravated about something, looking for a problem, just can't get right and saying those things, then it's going to spill out to other people. Then your expectation is, well, I knew that wasn't going to work. Well, he never gets anything right. Well, why would anybody do that? And that's just the cloud that you find yourself in. And unfortunately, as an older woman, I'll say this is why a lot of times men are attracted to younger women, because over time, if we let those life experiences that we all go through harden us, you all have had that experience. You may have mothers or aunties or people in your life, like when you get around them, it's just a laundry list of what's wrong. And it's just kind of like you don't feel good around them. So how can we expect that the men that we want to feel that way about us? That's why we teach our students to create that warm and welcoming space that naturally draws your man to you or draws him back to you. What would you add, Lucy?
And like he said, it, you know, at the beginning, it feels a little weird because it's kind of you're acting out, but the more you practice, the more you get better at it. And when it comes to what Maggie said about, you know, sometimes you're in an environment with all these people talking negatively about everything and anything, especially about men, that's when you're already practicing being grateful and appreciating people for who they are. That's where you have to make a decision whether you want to associate yourself as much with those people. Sometimes it's okay to, you know, distance yourself from all that negativity when you are on a different path of just, you know, looking at life a little different. Because again, once you start looking at life in a more positive way, life is going to be giving it back to you. So again, you're going to start noticing, wow, you know what? It wasn't as bad. You know, I thought it was going to be, you know, a worse event that I thought, but, you know, I had fun. It was great, you know, looking forward to the next one. Whereas if you're always hanging around people that are looking at the world so negatively, you know, it's, you know, unfortunately, it kind of it it just sticks to you, and you become that. So again, it goes back to you are the sum of the five closest friends that you are. So who are those friends that you have? Is that somebody that is really, that looks at the world so negatively that you become that? Or, you find a different tribe of people that are looking for opportunities to make their lives much more just gracious and grateful and thoughtful and productive.
I couldn't agree more. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat. The men are coming through so generous. Thank you. See Irving again with 5 more euros says that attraction to chaos is unhealthy. Everything said from Maggie and Lucy makes total sense. Oh, thank you so much for the support. We definitely want the young ladies who want marriage and family to think about everything that we do. Let's go back and see what you all are saying in the chat. Yes, thank you so much. Everybody saying hello. Thank you for the super sticker. Bill H, we appreciate you. All right, hello. World class. All right, so we left off at Maya. So good to have you here. Next level says modern women move in bad faith. Imagination and past experiences have jaded them. And ladies, this is why having all these experiences doesn't help you. Don't listen to these women that are telling you, go out there, live your life. You got plenty of time. It damages you. You're not supposed to have a long list of bad disappointments and heartbreaks. We are not built for that. You hear me say all the time, we are not equal. We're equally valued. But if you give your heart and give your body and give yourself and it's not reciprocated, it does something to you. You can pretend that it doesn't, but it's going to damage you. All right. So be very selective, ladies. Kim is in the house. Thank you so much for being here. Next level says, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you can't, you're right. Absolutely. And, that the company that we keep matters. And I was just talking to Lucy earlier, the older I get, there's just some things that we're not going to put up with because we don't have to. And ladies, like he said in the video, it's a choice. And you have to know that it will feel a little funny in the beginning, but like any change that we want to make, spending less, eating better, exercising, changing our friend groups, what we watch on entertainment, it's going to feel awkward at first, but knowing that it's going to help you get to where you want to go, that is the goal. All right, let's go back in and see what else he has to say.
This idea is the crux of neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, which is a very interesting branch of applied psychology. Basically, by systematically changing our linguistic habits, we can alter the activation of certain cognitive structures, which can ultimately have a profound impact on our subjective emotional experience. Here's one example. Try to replace the phrase, I have to, with I choose to, even in your own self-talk, and notice how you feel. When I use the phrase, I have to, I'm basically conceptualizing myself as a less powerful object vis-a-vis a more powerful subject. And this is problematic, as it's pretty hard to feel good about being compelled to do something. I have to go to the gym. Is that really true? Like, no, you don't. You can be unfit and unhealthy. Millions of people are. There is no one compelling your attendance. And believing otherwise is likely going to transform that activity into a chore over time, even if that's not really what you meant to imply with that language. It's connected to those associations beneath the surface. On the other hand, by thinking and speaking, I choose to go to the gym, you're reinforcing the belief that you are prioritizing your health and your fitness, which is a very different feel. You've reframed an obligation as a free choice, which will activate a completely different set of concepts and associations beneath the threshold of your awareness. Again, just like making an effort to alter your attention, changing your language is going to feel weird and unnatural for a while. But that doesn't mean it's not worth doing. In order to cultivate happiness, it is necessary to clarify the soil in which it is most likely to grow. And this will almost certainly require correcting your attention and cleaning up your language. What do you think? Does this fit with your own experience? Let me know in the comments below. And please send this episode to someone who you think might benefit from its message, as it's word of mouth referrals like this that really help to make the channel grow.
All right, everybody. So let's think about what he said and what we can learn from it. I perked up when he talked about changing our language. And again, words do matter, but this one is a big one for me. I talk to ladies about cleaning up your language, especially if you're prone to swearing. Not only is it masculine, but if you're trying to be a better version of yourself, but you continue those bad habits that kind of keep you in the gutter, that kind of keep you representing yourself in a way that you're trying to sell everybody else that you're not, but you have all those habits, it's going to be a lot harder for you to be successful. Again, your choice. You can do whatever you want to do. Nobody's going to fight you. But when you don't get the outcomes or the results, or nobody believes you because you really haven't looked internally and made those changes, just remember that's what you chose. The other thing that he said that made me think, using the language, I choose to. And I love this one when it comes to, especially ladies who are married or who want to be married or in a relationship. There's a lot of work that goes along with, looking after our men and taking care of a home and all of those things. And I enjoy cooking. And I've heard so many women say, I'm not doing that. And take all that. He can make his own plate, whatever they want to say, that's fine. But I look at it like an honor. Like I get to make sure that he has a nutritious meal today. When he's working hard and he's doing everything that he needs to do, when he, eats this home cooked meal, it makes him think about me. I choose to do that. I want to do that. So you can look at whatever tasks you have. If it's picking up after the children, I remember bending over and picking up those toys and thinking, oh my gosh, this is terrible. But how grateful am I to have little ones, running around and being able to make a mess that I can clean up or we can clean up together. If you are, in traffic and you have to take a detour instead of, fist in the air, mad at this is, your lot in life. What about appreciating, like Lucy said, the beauty of maybe taking another route that you hadn't realized before? Oh, wow, I didn't know they were building this over here. So there are ways, ladies, that we can do. And it's those little things that become habits that all of a sudden your outlook on life just becomes more positive. And I'm not saying it's just magic. You have to work on it, but it does have a ripple effect. And then before you know it, people are just more attracted to you. You're just a more pleasant person to be around. And that draws people to you, which starts a conversation, which if we both like each other can lead to something else. And you never know where it will take you. So these things do impact the big picture. And it can just start with changing how you think and how you speak. What would you add, Lucy?
I agree. He talked about that neuro-linguistic programming, and it is true. The more you say things to yourself, that's what will become. Again, I think somebody in the chat said about swearing, women swearing. It just puts you in a different level. Men see you completely different when you start swearing like I don't know, like a drunk person without any kind of consequences out there. A man will put you in a different category than a woman that they think would be great to be a mom to his children. Again, he imagines, if you have that capacity to swear that much, is that kind of language, are you going to be using it with our kids? Is that what I want for my wife to be doing to my kids? And the other part where he said, it's not that I have to, it's I choose to, or I get to do some of those things. It's thinking about some people, I get to run. Other people are bound in a wheelchair that do not get to do that. So again, it's looking at life on a different perspective. It's unfortunately social media also, and this modern way of life has made us not think about us being of service, women being of service, saying, you know what, I choose to please my man with this beautiful dinner that I give to him. I get to please my man with anything I do for him, and that's joy. Again, that spirit of service has gone away, and I think that we need to bring it back because it's hurting society. ultimately.
So true. I want to see what you all are saying in the chat. But yes, that's true. We talked about that in the wife lessons. Ladies, if you hear this message and it just bothers you, you're just like, I can't get down with that. That's totally fine. Just don't expect the men that are husband material to see you as a wife. I think what we see in a lot of modern women is like, we want to come with all the reasons and the excuses why we are not what the men want and expect them to make exceptions for us. They're not going to, because they don't have to. And, Lucy and I are here, especially for the young women that feel kind of like, you know what, I do want to be part of an intact family. I do want to look after my husband and raise children and be happy and be proud of the work that I'm doing. That's the value that I bring. Believe me, the men that you want see so much beauty and value in that. So we will champion you. Oh my goodness, coming in again with the €5. Thank you so much. C. Irving says, yes, indeed, Lucy. Let's go back up to the top and see what you all are saying. We'd love to know what you think. And gentlemen, since you're in force, what are your thoughts on happiness when it comes to women? And how does a woman's natural happiness impact you? And the opposite, when you're around a woman who's just crunchy for no reason, can't get right, what do you think of her? How does that impact you? All right, let's see what you all are saying in the chat. C. Irving says, yes, men pay attention to the company a woman keeps. It's true, ladies. We're not going to be able to, remove ourselves from the circle that we surround ourselves with. And you can't hang out with, the kind of ratchet friends and then act and think that you're going to be seen as different. It reminds me of someone else who thought, oh, I'm just helping these people, I'm doing all that. But it's just pulling you down into that space. And the quiet part out loud is you like the mess. You like to be around the ratchetness. You want to kind of straddle the fence and kind of see what the elegant women are doing, but you really you feel comfortable in that chaos. And if that's true, that's fine. Just remember that's what you chose. So we're here to help the ladies who want something different prioritize it now. C. Irving says, I choose to cooperate. This becomes natural in time. I love it. Yeah. All of our habits, good or bad, become who we are. So what are your habits, and are they helping you get the outcome that you want? Next level says, words have power and thoughts become things. Very true. Discipled One says, what you think in, you will walk in. That is so true. You think you're hiding it, but it shows. What's on the inside eventually is going to come out. Irving says, cursing is definitely a turnoff for me. I agree, Maggie. Again, ladies, you can be just like one of the boys. But when you get treated like a dude, that's what you chose. You all are loving this? Absolutely. BLJ, our sponsor, says it shows their lack of intelligence and limits her way to properly express herself in a graceful manner. What would you say about that, Lucy? Ladies moving in grace.
I agree. And again, that not only hurts a woman in the professional world, at work, are you able to present something without having those curse words or just harsh words that do not show you as a feminine asset in a man's world? Again, even if you think about all those curse words, they're very harsh. They're very, fighting, like it's going to create a punch. So again, do you want that in your life? Do you want to have that around the man that's going to be with you? Again, remember those words. If you start cursing when your husband or your significant other is next to you, you are putting him in a very dangerous situation, because he's going to have to stick up for you to protect you when those words hit the wrong person at the wrong time. So again, it's our jobs as women too to always be aware of how some of the behavior that we show out there could hurt our husband or our significant other in the end.
Such a good point. And ladies, a lot of this, even if you're single, You can start making these changes now. You could be the better version of yourself. Stop saying, "Oh, I'll become feminine when," or well, this is my environment, or this is just all I heard growing up. Because one of the things that I don't know if Psychack said it, but men pay attention to the effort that we put into other things. We talked about this in the finishing school. So, one of our students said, "You know what? Yeah, I know what I have to do to take continuing education or whatever I need to do for my job. I need to prioritize my husband." If you want your relationship to be a success, ladies, we are the nurturers, not only in the space of the home, but in the love of the relationship too. So, and that's something that we get to do. We choose to keep the home fires burning. All right. Irving says he totally agrees. And Disciple One is smelling a preaching from Lucy. Absolutely. Next Level says, I protect my happiness. I can't be responsible for fixing anything that I didn't break. Now, that's a word right there, ladies. How many of you are coming with your heartbreak and your baggage and all of that and expecting the man who had nothing to do with that to fix a problem that he didn't create? That's not fair to him. And honestly, the men that we want, they're not going to, because we are attracted to the version of them that has already done the work. We are attracted to the version of them that is successful. Very, very few women, like my man said, we don't make those kind of women anymore, Maggie, that will hitch their wagon to a dream. Ask yourself, you can tell the truth. You don't have to tell me, but most of us want to sit back in our comfortable life. And then once we see the finished product, yeah, now I'm ready to be part of that. So the man already had to do the work, had to win and lose and fail and try and get embarrassed and told no and all of those things before you got there. So why should he take time away from what he's building for himself and his legacy to fix you up when you're just an adult too? And most of you are saying we need to be equal partners. So do your equal part and make sure you bring the best version of yourself to the relationship, or you just won't have one. C. Irving says, a woman's happiness really motivates me to think of new things and places we can experience together. I love that. Ladies, look how your happiness benefits the man, which benefits you. What would you add to that, Lucy?
I agree. And unfortunately, it's been probably decades of women learning to behave in such a different way, whereas, now men find that femininity, that woman's happiness, it's so rare that we need to make it into the normal way of women being women. Unfortunately, the modern world, lucky for me, I was not exposed to much of the modern world living in a third world country. But I do see that young women, even when they're very young, they start learning that through the educational system, through the TV shows, through TikTok, to put that femininity away and become assertive and the boss woman, boss lady. And that in the end, when you're 58, when you're my age, that's the last thing you want, to continue thinking that you're still going to be the boss lady at 60 years old, when you can be your soft self, allowing your husband to take care of you and just not worry about anything else. Because again, ultimately, men work to make us happy. Men work to be our heroes. Men work to create the life at the end of our life that once they're gone, they know that they've created the good life to live till the end of our lives as well. So again, it's just so hard to see young women that have not experienced much. The only thing that they've experienced is watching social media and TV and everything else, without having that self, life experience to understand that men want the best for us. And unfortunately, you're being taught something completely different, and society it's reaping the benefits of it, or the not benefits.
Yeah, we're all suffering. Absolutely. Thank you, Neo Moses. And let's close out with what BLJ said. Men do look at relationship resumes. You never know when we may go back and pull some old references from previous relationships. Oh my goodness, will men be disappointed or impressed? So ladies, what you do matters. The time that you spend, especially in your prime, matters. I was talking to one of our biggest sponsors, and he said that it's so true. Ladies, the choices that we make in our prime, when we have the most leverage, speaks volumes about our decision making, who we choose to entertain. And there's no guarantees. Again, we're older women. Unfortunately, we've experienced divorce, but you've never heard, and you never will hear Lucy or I be up here bad mouthing. We learned what we needed to learn and moved on. But for women who think, oh, I've got all the time in the world, or, oh, there'll be another one coming, or, I didn't like the way, he wore that shirt. So, let's kick him to the curb. Unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of women living in regret. And that's not what we want for our students. So we want you to choose wisely and put your best effort in. Be a good woman to a good man, and wait and see what will happen when you're our age. Lindbergh says we call that behavior westernized. It's true. My man said, look, all these modern women, y'all get real quiet when women in war-torn countries. Talk to the women in Ukraine, ask if there's any question if they're running to the front lines or they believe in women and children first. Talk to women. Lucy and I are both immigrants. When we go to our home countries, things are very different. So life is coming for all of us. So again, hopefully this is helpful for you all. The link is in the description. This one was Psych Hack. So thank you, Lucy, for sharing this with us. We are getting ready to celebrate our graduation and reunion. Lucy's coming all the way from California to Atlanta. So we're going to have a wonderful weekend with the ladies, putting what we've taught them virtually into practice and grading them and making sure that their behavior and their conduct represents the finishing school and what we are creating here, because Lucy and I are very serious about it. So we will take a break this Saturday, no stream, but we will be back with you all next Wednesday after all the festivities. And we'll take a break from classes this summer. But you can stay tuned, teachablemoments.maggie.com for all of our courses and the finishing school in the fall. And Brandon BLJ has let us know he will be our guest speaker next year for the select ladies that are invited to participate. All right, so let me say thank you to our sponsors. We had so many tonight, and then Lucy, you can close us out. So we had Discipled One. Thank you so much for the $10. Next Level, thank you for the $10. Bill H, thank you for the $2. C Irving, €10. C Irving again, €5. C Irving again, €5. But the stream sponsor for today, founding father of the finishing school, BLJ, shut it all down with the $100. So thank you. Lucy, what would you say to close us out?
Thank you all for coming in, and enjoying our live streams. And again, ladies, remember, if you see in the comments, men are always watching. So if you want to be married, just be aware of, those men out there looking at your behavior, and just, take accountability with the things that happen in life, because ultimately your life is a result of all the decisions that you have made up to this point. So aside from that, I think this was a great live stream. Always Psych Hack is amazing with his with the master language type thing. Sometimes I get lost because it's pretty high up there. So sometimes I need Maggie to translate those concepts for me. But thank you for being here, and until next time.
All right, everybody. Until then, we will say adios.
Adios.
Bye. All right. Did I get